Hello everyone and welcome to another day of VALORANT Challengers North America presented by Zenny and Zippo. We're in the mid-season cup and today is the semifinals day, so things are gonna get pretty excited, pretty close between these two matches. And today with me is gonna be my wonderful desk, very talented, a lot of experience between the two is Emily and Roy. Emily, I'm so glad that we get to work together. It's always a pleasure. Yay. And it's also in such a cool instance that we get to work together because it is the semifinals. Today we're gonna find out who's gonna be playing those grand finals tomorrow for the mid-season cup, and it can really be anybody.
It really can. I'm expecting this to be one of the most exciting, both of these matches, one of the most exciting days out of the mid-season cup. I think that it's going to be close for both of the matches that we have today, and they're also both revenge matches. So I'm curious to see who did their extra homework and who's going to show us that hard work does pay off.
That's a really good point as well, because in the first instances, Roy, that we had of the mid-season cup, the first couple matches, there were a bunch that didn't really play each other before, but now these is all revenge matches, trying to see who is going to come up on top, if it's going to be one team being the most dominant, or maybe one surprise, which I feel like is the most likely. I mean, you just see it by the amount of 2-1s that we've had so far.
Oh, for sure. I mean, all I'm thinking right now is I hope you guys have your seatbelts and you guys are strapped in, because this is going to be a long, bumpy road today for sure.
And it's a Moist Shopify that we're going to see today going against Oxygen, M80 going against Turtle Troop. Two matches that, as you guys mentioned before, they happened in the past. They happened in the regular season and now in the mid-season with a single elimination bracket where you're gone and you're out. It is more important than ever, Emily.
Yeah, looking at the bracket that we have here, I thought that the M80 versus TSM match was one of the matches that I wasn't sure how that was going to go. And it ended up being what I thought it was going to be, a very close game, 2-1, where M80 ended up taking the win. And also one of the teams that we're watching today, we have Oxygen Esports. They won very convincingly versus Core 2-0.
And that's the beauty of this tournament, is that you get so excited about these matches. You don't know who's going to come up on top, but it does hurt a little bit when you see those teams that have made the improvements not make it that far. I feel like TSM was absolutely one of those teams where it was like, oh, they look so good, they deserve to make it, but it's just only one in that match that could make it. So it's kind of hard, but yeah, we're down to 4 teams, and let's dive into our first matchup today. Is going to be Moist Shopify going against Oxygen. As we talked about before, this is a rematch from the regular season, and Roy, these are two teams that are always definitely at the top, for sure, in that top 4. Even before we got to this instance, we already knew we were most likely going to see them again.
Yeah, I mean, these are the teams that we kind of predicted were going to be the top 4 teams in stage 1. Towards the end, we kind of steered off that path and that narrative a little bit, but now we're kind of seeing like, okay, it's, Moist, Oxygen, we consider them as the top 3 teams in Challengers. Same with M80 and Turtle Troops, and now it's all 4 of these teams in the top 4. Surprise! No one is shocked. But these are all incredible teams.
Yeah, and as a player perspective, I must say that one of these teams is at a boot camp. They're all in the same facility as each other. That's Moist X Shopify and Oxygen Esports. From what I saw, they were at home. And we have to remember that this has a huge impact of how the team and how the players are going to be playing. What kind of distractions do they have from family, from lighting, from sound, and all of that in between? And also, you have a little bit of an advantage when you're all in the same facility. You can hype each other up if somebody's starting to fall down. As an in-game leader, I can bring that person up. I can feel their energy, and it just gives them certainly an advantage, Roy.
Yeah, and then you got like the fist bumps too. Like the fist bumps is a buff. I don't care what anyone says, okay? But I actually bumped into. It really is. But I bumped into some of the Shopify players at the Shopify office actually, and it was after their fluffy match, and they were telling me how like they were a little bit rusty. They haven't played officials in a while, and they kind of shook off the rust in that match. So I think they're about to power up from here, and I think we're about to see something very interesting here for sure.
And there's just no space for mistakes. It is trying to make it to the grand final, and you have to be perfect, and as perfect as you can be. Those 2-0s would be ideal for them to let them prepare, to let them rest for tomorrow. But if not, just a 2-1 securing the grand finals already gives you enough points. So let's now talk about Moist Shopify specifically. I know you mentioned, Emily, that the bootcamp buff definitely helps out, and I feel like something that for both teams they want to have in terms of the energy and even the pressure that some players might feel compared to others in an instance like this one. And you're looking at individual players like Mata, like Vic, and it seems like really everybody on this team that has been doing so good. They've always had that potential, but I need to see them in the grand finals. I need to see them with a very dominant win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you can have some of the most talented players in the world, but it just kind of matters of how are they going to shine and what's going to help that. And that's why I mentioned the bootcamp facility being together. I think these players playing together where they're at is just really helping amplify of what they've been showing us throughout this event. I think Mata on Raze has just been so much better than what we've seen in the past, just from the teammates that he has and people being able to set him up. And again, the energy. I'm a nurse, so I know all about the psychological factors of the energy and your adrenaline rush, and just being together just really, really helps amplify that and improves your performance.
Definitely. And a lot of people forget too, like Mata is young, but he's also the kind of the vibe merchant for the Shopify, for the Moisec Shopify side. So, I mean, he's like not only popping off, but he's honestly carrying the energy as well, like keeping everybody hyped, keeping everybody confident. But I do want to kind of talk about Vic now that he's sort of on screen. Vic has been, obviously we've sort of talked about this before, but we are shifting into this like star player controller meta where like all the controllers are no longer this like supportive playstyle anymore. We're moving into like controllers being super flashy and super cool. And like Vic is an amazing player for that. And there's so many like amazing moments in their first matchup versus Fluffy Aimers where he kind of like put the team on the back, like insane clutches, so many important like multi-frags and multi-kills. And he's just been like the kind of like the epitome of like star player controller.
And you just see it at every level of Valorant, where just having your duelist be the one that's fragging out, it's not enough, right? You need all the team to be together and be able to perform to that high level. And the controllers, as you said, that has been kind of the narrative that we've been carrying on for this mid-season cuppas. How they've been able to shine, how they've been able to clutch out those rounds in ways that nobody else is able to do, and how they're able to keep the team alive in situations where, honestly, sometimes it just seems unwinnable, and they make that comeback, they turn it around, and they make it happen. Now, let's talk about the other side. It's an Oxygen that when we talk about, we're talking about this confidence, about the energy, we're talking about all of those, and I feel like Oxygen is just one of those teams that has that ego when it comes to playing. They're confident that they're good. They have a lot of young players. The player that I always think about the most is Redux when it comes to this confidence. Even in the interviews, you ask him, how do you feel about this opponent or this one? And he just kind of laughs because he knows he's better. He knows he's better than a lot of the teams that we have in Challengers. And I feel like you always need that, Emily.
Yeah, Redux has always been one of my favorite players to watch on Raze. I think he has really perfected the Raze agent. He's so good at his movement, but also the utility damage that he has is absolutely insane in comparison to other Razes. And just Oxygen as a team in general, we have to remember, in the regular season, they did go 3-2 in comparison to Moisec Shopify, who was the only team that went 5-0 from both groups. So their confidence might not have been as good in comparison to their opponents today, but I think that they really want it. And like I said, Redux is a really exciting player to always watch, and also Scuba is a really good controller too. He's very, very versatile, and he plays multiple different controller agents.
Yes, and he's starting to play the Clove, which is amazing to watch. I've been wanting to see Clove in action, and now we finally get to see it on Lotus. Obviously, we don't know what the video of the map video is yet, so it may pop up or it might not pop up, but we'll see. But I mean, on a more general like kind of team note, I think Oxygen, not only are they good, but they're also annoying to play against. Like, they're totally down to just use Odins and spam you through walls and just like use all the kind of cringe weapons, right? Like, they're totally down for that. And it's like, it has to be frustrating, right? Like, you're trying your hardest and you're running all this elaborate strategy, but now I'm getting Odin spammed, and now I'm getting scanned and I'm getting spammed through walls. Like, it's just so frustrating to play against when they're kind of like utilizing everything that they have at their disposal, and they're doing such a good job at it too.
And it adds so much when your team is combining these annoying weapons, how they're going to hold the corner with the judge, how they're going to shoot you through the wall with an Odin, and also the combination of utility that you see specifically from Redux, the way that he's going in and diving in. It's just not by himself. It's the support of the team that is really making these wins happen. But when we talk about utility, we also have to talk about the controllers, and we have a very cool head-to-head, Roy, here between Scuba and Vic. And this is what you've been saying. the past couple of days, it is the kind of controller moment. It is the moment for these controllers to be able to shine, and they've been absolutely doing so.
Yeah, I mean, these are key players, right? Like when you think of like star player controllers, like these are players that I'm kind of like picturing in my mind, right? Like now this is their stats since the midseason cup, not the entire stage 1. But like just look at this. 154 ADR for Vic, 144 for Scuba. Like these players are not only making very high level decisions, but they're also holding their mouth with superpowers. Like their aim is so nuts.
It's not something that is easy to do for sure, but me personally, I do want to see Clove being played again. We haven't seen much of it in VCT. We haven't seen it in Tier 1. We just seen it from Scuba, and I'm just like, please give us more different maps, something else. But I feel like the Clove has so much potential, specifically for that, to allow those controllers to frag out and to use the utility for the team. It's just a perfect combination. But on the other side, Roy, speaking of the firepower, speaking of everything that you can do, of course, it is those two duelists that we've been talking about, Emily. It is Redux and Mata, and they are very, very close. I think Redux is just that guy that once he's 18, you're going to see in VCT, you're going to see one of the better teams. Right now, he's the youngest that we have. He's 16. He still has something to prove. Mata is also very, very young, but we have the star duelists that are so young for a reason.
We've got our crazy Zoomer duelists here going head-to-head, and I love to see it. Battle of the Zoomers and who's going to pull through at the end of this matchup. Again, I was talking about Redux earlier. I just feel like he just has extremely good movement with the satchels. He's got 67%, almost 67% util damage, and that's absolutely huge. He's using the whole shebang that we have on Raze. And Mata is obviously also a really good player, although the stats are a little bit differently. I just feel like they definitely will go head to head. I'm curious of how they're going to be playing against each other when they have the Raze battle.
And I'm crossing my fingers to see that raised battle between the two, and also to see that Clove being played by Scuba. But let's jump into the map select. Let's see if we're gonna be watching the same maps that we saw in the last couple of days, or this couple of different things that are being prepared. And Roy, we're going to bind, Icebox, and split. No Lotus. Maybe not Clove. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, it's been almost a month since these teams have played each other, right? And also, kind of a side note, but Bind is actually an interesting pick here by Oxygen, because last time they played Moisek Shopify on it, they lost 9-13 on Bind. So they must have either one, changed comps, or like really cleaned up their act and kind of have like a really strong read on how Moist wants to play this map.
It was also a map of Bind that, yeah, like you said, 13-9, and they were both playing that exact same composition with the Gecko, something that we saw actually yesterday, and the pretty much the meta that we have right now, Emily. But as we jump into the agent select, that's what we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if maybe the Oxygen, they really want to run this map because they want to play something new, something different, or it's gonna be the same, but just fixing those mistakes that caused them to lose that last time.
Yeah, they had enough time, if they wanted to, I think, to change some of the agents that they might be using. So I'm curious if they're going to be doing that. It is high risk, high reward, in my opinion. That would be exciting to watch. But I think at this point, maybe they aren't going to risk it for the biscuit and change their agents. I'm curious to see who they're going to end up picking once we get to our first map.
And do you think, as somebody that has been in one of the best Game Changers teams and having that experience, when it's been some time and you bring that surprise of actually we want to run the same map that we lost last time, do you think it's just kind of the wanting to prove that you're better and this time around is going to be different?
Well, sometimes losing can be a blessing because you can go back and study what went wrong and really get down into the details of what you need to fix, because that's going to give you more of an advantage. They're not going to go back and watch, well, most likely not watch what went right and why they won that match. You're studying even harder into the map of what went wrong, right? So now that you know what they did that worked for them, you're able to counter that. So we've done that many times in the past where you'll pick a map that you lost versus them because they're going to think, we won that map, no problem. But actually you did a lot of homework and details that are needed to counter them with what worked for them.
And I feel like it was absolutely the best time that we've had and the best time that the teams had to kind of, okay, you lose, okay, you have enough time to prepare to bring something new, Roy. And I feel like I'm pretty sure the agent select is ready now to see if we're actually gonna be seeing the same thing. Honestly, I do like the composition. I really like the fact that last time they were playing it the same way. And as we get to see it, Roy, it looks the same.
Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. Like, Gecko Sky is just such a strong meta right now on Bind, right? Because you kind of need that explosive power, and the Sky Gecko flashes combined can almost get you out of any choke point. But also, we have to kind of sort of keep in mind that Oxygen were the pioneers of Gecko. Like, when they were running Gecko on Bind, we were all shocked. Like, what? People are actually playing Gecko? Like, they were one of the first teams to kind of get on the tech, right? So I'm really expecting Verna to kind of like be leading the way here in terms of like play style and kind of like stylistic, you know, like individual skill expression. That should be pretty cool.
Yo.
Hey, everybody. There's 4 teams left in the throw, but we are, I promise you, we are so ready. But this pig Van's Bind,
we're casting
Oxygen,
right now, dude. I'm all right. I'm here now. I'm here. What's up?
Lock in, bro. Lock in, because Moist are 3-0 on this map, and this is Oxygen's pick. We're going to see if it works out, Cotton.
Yeah. What? Did you call me Cotton? What? What does that mean?
It's from a movie.
Which one? I'm not a movie buff. You know how?
Don't quiz me right now. We gotta lock it. It's VALORANT time, okay?
All right, we'll lock it. We'll lock in. But yes, indeed, an Oxygen game versus MXS. This is actually a map that's been floated when they played against each other last time as well. And it was actually a very close game and a very fun game to watch. I think it was also like that week when we started seeing like the Mata ult versus the Redux way that he dodges, and Redux was kind of like diffing him in terms of being able to avoid those type of showstoppers and adding a lot more impact on that duelist role. But I think just like Emily said, and Roy, how they both hyped up Mata on how he's improved throughout the seasons and throughout the weeks, rather, and having that support system, I think is developed into a fine duelist. So this is going to be a very fun match where you have an opportunity of a great revenge for Mata against Redux on this map right here.
And look at the stack towards B. Moist Shopify ready to scramble. And, well, a lot of teams got scrambled in the quarterfinal. Oxygen decimated core. Moist narrowly getting into this position. We're going to see who will have revenge when both these teams have gone at it in the past. Now that Viper's wall, allowing that player to get into the corner. They have kind of this trap play going. But Oxygen have a very quiet and hidden default, or Dapper and Mata. Look how far pushed up Mata is. This could be the first engagement.
That's huge, actually, for the amount of information he's getting. And not overextending is going to be great, so that's going to give a chance here for all of MXS to just get ready for a B-pop or just very quickly TP back and take showers control. So by the looks of it, Oxygen is still in a great position to at least get a plant by selling this fake with the dog, but the flank from behind right after is going to be very dangerous for Oxygen on a post plant.
Very dangerous to take that much damage too if you're Mitch. Wanted to maybe follow up with that dog just immediately. But Otashima, where did this person go? You checked right. Didn't check left, Mitch! The silent killer and revenge at 14 HP. This could open things up, but now you see that Moist, their defense has stayed strong. They have not budged at all from that B-long corner, but the plant is already going down at A.
At least that right-click classic from Mitch worked by shooting somebody from behind, not like we saw yesterday on the set going through there from one of the matches from yesterday. But yes, this plan is going to be pretty good, but we've mentioned that pinch. Big fight coming up on short, though. Important for Mata to win, and unfortunately, at 14 HP, still gets another kill.
He's so sneaky. Mitch on the corners. Oxygen, everyone's still alive. Injured, but still alive. Here's the retake from MXS. 2 showers. The bro's blinded. And Vic still gets kills. He's the GOAT, and that's why we highlighted him on the pre-show. 3 versus 2. This is no longer guaranteed for Oxygen. The defuse started, but denied on the other side of the smoke. Time running out. And it will be Oxygen taking pistols.
You saw the power of what Roy was mentioning before, too, going into the agent composition for both of these teams. How double flashes with a Sky and a Gecko is very effective, which allows, therefore, that retake for MXS to start very meticulously well when they were executing outside of showers to retake A site, but everything after that, the counters that came through were super nice coming out from Oxygen. They had a great attempt of an idea to be able to still smoke that defuse, but it looks like everybody already had their crosshair ready through that smoke to drop that wingman instantly and really not give a chance here for Moist X Shopify to set up for the retake. And all this beautifully done by Mitch to kick things off at such a low HP.
And MXS has been able to take pistols because of that 4-stack gamble at B before, and Oxygen definitely doing their homework from the last time they encountered. It's very slow and almost too free. Where is everybody? Could be someone in U-Haul. Where is that person that should be peeking heaven? But it's Mata who's been far pushed up into showers, and Oxygen have already gotten the plant. So MXS will have to hope for a retake with 5.
That's just unfortunate. You're trying to gamble something and at the same time take control of showers. And I think that's going to be the game plan to pay attention to for MXS, as they're inserting Mata a lot, or if not, maybe another person that's going to be taking care of showers a lot. But now you have the flash info, you have the guns. This is looking pretty good for Oxygen for the Pulse plan, as we're trying something for MXS. We're trying to fight.
Some info there from Verno, the flash, mollying off the spike so you can pressure and take a different angle. And now the SMGs can just work out at this close range. MXS will duel and try to injure them as much as possible. Brock with 2, but just no time to defuse. Oxygen, I'll take the second round.
That was so close as well, too. You saw that shot coming in from the Marshall onto Vernal, down to 7 HP. But I mean, that's the other thing, too. 7 HP means he's going to have to rebuy armor. They lost 3 players in the process. The only thing that they've really purchased for MXS on that defensive side is a Marshall. And for OXG, it's going to be a more of a lower buy that you have on their side. And as you see the economy that came through from the force buy of that Marshall for MXS, it kind of keeps the situation quite even after all. So a great swing round that could be coming into play here for MXS. But as I say that, actually, there's still great economy for OXG remaining in the bank with the small shields that they're buying. So they have a pretty decent bonus to buy for the next 2 rounds, even if they lose.
Yeah, 3 rifles on the bonus for Oxygen. Getting first blooded, not so hot, though. But at least Mata was exchanged in the process. Oxygen tried a faster take of A this time, now that they have better weaponry. Oxygen are still leaning on that A side, and of course a teleporter is always there. And now that Mata is usually the guy that's been holding showers, Oxygen can kind of split this. And this is going to be an important lurk out of Dapper. But Mitch is usually the sneaky guy, and Fire rates him. What a turn! Dapper wasn't ready.
Somebody check his walls. That was actually a nice little 6 cents to flick to get that pick. And it gives them a great advantage. But they know how much damage they've done to Flya. So that's potentially weak side. Especially now that they're flashing for an info for showers from MXS that just came out from Flya. I think this is a great audible call going on from OXG just to pivot back into that weak side that we know that OXG doesn't know. What they're trying to do here is just to play contact, because you don't want to give your hand and give your tell that you've pivoted here over on this B side when you've already made the noise on A, and there's that contact, and somehow Flash still survives at 8 HP.
That's your emotional support bird right there. So, please protect me. But Oxygen, 12 seconds left. Wingman, you got one job, and it's the plant in time. And with the flash, Oxygen distracted MXS in time for the plant to ensue and got the kills. So Oroshima in a 1v3 with Verno injured. It's not impossible, but being at the other site, probably going to conserve this weapon. But Oxygen, they've been so good at catching these lurks out of MXS, but this time getting punished when Dapper was watching that walk by MXS. So I like that Oxygen are kind of waiting to see what MXS do and then countering it.
Yeah, and just unfortunate that Fly actually got picked off by the mosh that was being thrown on the ground. I think it was like one single tick that took him away at the 8 HP remaining. So he couldn't survive long enough to try to counter flash. He had that one single bird that was left behind to try to delay as much as he could. But that was just the toppling of the cards there when he fell. That was a site given up and a plant now for OXG. And we talked about, I was trying to mention that economy, but it's still very good for OXG despite going into a rifle round here with half shields. That was also because of that second round where not too much has been invested on their end as well, just to make sure that you're able to conserve that economy into a decent buy into round number 3 or 4, depending if you lose a round or not on that previous one. But it hasn't, so they have money flowing right now on their side, and MXS are going to have have to try to gamble a little bit of more aggression with the stinger that they have. And you're starting to see potentially a split into the sand, a crunch from sands with a TP.
Oh, but there's Thrash for Verno. It's gonna be 2 monsters on the loose if you're not careful. Shima with 2! Spike down! Oxygen didn't even get to set up. MXS don't usually swing out of there.
Amazing.
And Oxygen completely caught off by this. Now having to enter with less members through the wall, but waiting for this to go down. Redux and Scuba don't even have the spike, so this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, very interesting as well. Big pigs coming out from Otoshima, and the last 2 now they're just gonna have to fight. I mean, that's the only thing you can really do. Try to catch some players as they're rotating back towards this B site, break them apart, and as the action could settle down, you save the spike and you try to work wherever you want around the map. Especially on Vine, it's still very doable here. But they've made some noise. They let themselves known here that they're still fighting towards this B site. For OXG, they actually don't know that the spike has been picked up yet because they kind of gave up those kills just so they could play the numbers on their side, which is a great way to play because you know how bad that buy was for MXS this round. There was only that hero rifle that was saved in that previous round by Otoshima, and he makes it work. The beautiful shots at the beginning.
30 seconds left.
Now Oxygen have to re-clear this whole area, kind of costing them time to get the spike back in their hands. And MXS are like, well, we're in our spawn. We're going to play defense. You guys have to play offense, and then we'll see how that goes. So Oxygen have to re-clear into the site. Yes, they had their position known. You're satcheling in, still have a boom bot and a molly. So that molly being thrown probably right at the choke as MXS wanted to flash in. The wingman didn't get the stun they were maybe hoping for to prevent the plant, but Oxygen stabilizing hopefully off of that. And even with the smoke, they don't know, Oxygen don't know the angles that MXS could be taking. They're gonna flood in, and it's Otoshima with 4 that cleans up the round for MXS.
What a big round once again by Otoshima. The first 2 kills and the last 2, and that's gonna get him very close to the pit moving forward. And also, as you could see here, they're actually even more prioritizing the defuse here on the Gecko so they can get the Thrash out. That's a very good ult to have here, and very quickly can you bring that up here on the side of MXS when you're using a Gecko in your roster as well, OXG, of course. But yeah, great round by Otoshima coming through. And the reason why I said it was dangerous there for OXG, they boom butted towards Elbow, and understanding that nobody was flanking towards the area, they still decide to double push for a crossfire setup in the back of the site. But that boom bot that comes out from Mata gets all of that information, and it allows for them to flood so easily, and that's going to be even harder for this round, where they couldn't even satchel on top of the APC. So they're a very weak side now on A, with this Thrash pushing forward.
Ooh, Thrash got shot down at an angle, and Mata catches the cross out of Oxygen, and they go 1-1. And Oxygen only have a dog, got no utility out of Verno left. Oxygen just shooting through the smoke, putting pressure onto MXS, who are gonna molly and try to slow down. That's all MXS have to do is stall, and they'll still keep Fly on the B side, ready to teleport and maybe even help pressure on multiple angles. Oxygen now at a stalemate.
Yeah, all they got to do is wait a bit too, as you mentioned, it's stall, but it's a re-hit. There's not too much utility that's left here for MXS to do another wave of stall with a plant attempt coming through here from OXG.
Peekaboo, Scuba. Okay, good trade. Great reaction out of Verno. And he'll flash to see if there's any follow-up. MXS brought down to 1. Big double kill out of Mitch. The plant will ensue, and Flya just now rotating, not taking the teleport. No 1v3. Dog flash. A lot of weight on his shoulders. The economy could get out of hand for Oxygen if they win this. Flya trying to just wallbang Verno. Will not get hit by the flash. It's mind games against Verno, with not a lot of time left. We'll round it. Verno knows where he is. There's a crossfire too with Mitch. This Flya will do what he can to keep them locked into this, and will escape.
I love
There's
it.
a gift.
Yeah, always like the simple flash. I love it. If you guys don't know that one, it's like a pistol throw from back in the day. But anyways, I love what they did in terms of like an entry for OXG, like a nifty little thing. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but Verno actually thrashes into short. And as he thrashes, Redux actually satchels in a great distance just to close that gap behind it, so that whoever's trying to shoot their thrash at the beginning, you hear the shots coming out from showers, and you're now basically using a thrash as your bait. So you could do the bait and switch, like the double swings that you usually see, and where you're trying to trade out kills. and that was using our Thrash for absorbing all of the damage, having less bullets to spray against, and then having a better chance for you to win that fight over the end there by Redux. Although he lost that fight to Mata, there was still Mitch right behind him for another potential trade. So I love how they use that Thrash to gain that space and also to take control, of the first portion of that A site map. And with that, you saw the rest unravel and how it worked really good and how Mitch just pops off as he did in the first pistol run into that last round. So now this is a great time to call this technical pause just to like calm the nerves, because Mitch is starting to feel it, and OXG, they're really coming out with a vengeance here with this first map.
For sure. I like the adjustment that Mata did too. Just give up on showers. You're not getting any action there, and just shifting towards trying to slow down the Oxygen main A push, where they haven't really committed anyone in showers. So Mata being able to cut down that Thrash is one big win condition removed out of Verno and Oxygen, and came down to just swinging in the timings when those smokes came down, which great job out of Mitch, who's 9-2.
Yep. Continuing very strong on his side for sure for OXG, but there's still, some good things that are going around overall, and how, again, you're trying to create that space here for Redux. But also, if you're looking at it from MXS's side, though, despite them being behind 1-4, there's been a lot of these rounds that really came down to the wire, to the last minute trades, or on how disciplined or how the fundamentals work on one end or the other. They're actually playing some pretty clean Valorant on both ends. It's just Oxygen's winning more of these gunfights than not against MXS. But you saw that round from Otoshima before, the way that they double swung out for a contact into Sands, catching some players off guard. That's just understanding some tendencies that's going out on OXG on how they like to default around the map, playing more around these extremities. And it's also potentially even how, when you think about the first 2 rounds that came out from MXS, where they've inserted Mata into showers, into deeply into the spawn on pistol rounds, second round with a Marshall, they've understood as well that the extremities for OXG was more leaning towards long B, or maybe even on Sands. So they gambled on that side to not crunch too much on showers at that side on that eco round, and just went from short A to Sands and just won individual fights on both ends, and really catching OXG off guard. So that tells me that the reads and the current calls from Otoshima, despite the 1-4 deficit, are still quite good, and they have a chance here to bring the game rather close, as ults are now at the ready for their side on the defensive side, and also those weapons.
Redux with the showstopper is what I'm interested in, because MXS have been playing a forward defense into hookah into B, so you've spotted Flyer or even Otoshima there a couple of times, so you could just explode into hookah and just kind of change things up, because Oxygen have gone to A a lot, or you could just showstopper right through A main, because that's been difficult for Oxygen to get through, just due to the stalling of all the smokes, especially that one from the Brimstone on defense at the top of A main boxes. There's just so much stalling, but it's also because Oxygen are funneling all through A main. They're not really kind of divvying up their forces and splitting up into showers as much, and Mata hasn't been pressured, so that's why he's just focusing his attention into A main.
Yeah. And also, when you're looking at the history of this, right, this is another opportunity for, MXS to really come back, at least, and win this revenge match of Bind, that is, right? Overall, in the series, when they met against each other last time, I think this was like the week number 1, if I'm not mistaken, this was a 2-1 victory for MXS. But the map in itself for Bind showed a very, very strong and heavy attack side to kick things off for OXG, where they won, I think, 8 out of the 12 rounds on the attack, and stringing a lot of them once they actually had that, that economy of ultimates that they can actually cycle through. And again, the opportunities and openings that you're able to get out of Redux at that point as well. And it's starting to look like a very similar storyline at the very beginning right here, where Oxygen has fairly good control of how they want to work this map, and MXS thinking that they had an opportunity here to get their revenge, to understand what went wrong the last time that they played against this team, is probably why we're seeing Bind as the first map pick coming in, so that they could actually counter back and learn from their mistakes and then capitalize on those mistakes to bring the victory back on their side. But with a 4-1 scoreline so far for OXG, you might start doubting yourself a little bit into was this a right idea to pull up a Bind at the beginning?
When MXS are undefeated on this, and this was a map they faced off before, so there's a little bit of homework. I don't think either team really cares about this map, because it was the deciding one. They've never picked it. Yeah, MXS, the retakes I feel like have taken so long to really truly develop. Even when you're left in these 1v2s, 1v3s, very doable, but it's the time that's hurting MXS. When you can have your Gecko and little wingman get the plan done and all of Oxygen's focus is on your swings, MXS's retakes either take too long or they're very well read. So it's been tough a tough nut for MXS to crack when it comes to getting back in control of the A site.
Yeah, and again, just to clarify too, this is also, you know, OXG's map pick, which is behind what I was trying to say more is also on MXS. They really want to let that float a second time and allow here Oxygen to have such a strong pick going into this map against their opponents here at this point. But that said, as you can tell, chat, we've been podcasting for a bit. We had a small technical pause. There's just a small reboot for PC and an update that happened at the same time. So that's actually going to be resuming quite soon, as we got the word here from production that we might that we should be going back in right now. And there you go. We did it. We did it, Lemon Kiwi. Welcome
guys.
to Casting Valorant. Welcome to Casting Valorant. Welcome. You're doing
oh my
good.
God.
You're doing great.
Defensive Thrash, showstopper. Thank you. I'm so happy. But how are we going to be happy to see the showstopper leading towards B? I'm feeling like some aggression in Hookah could be happening. But MXS, you have to ult track this. You have to know this is coming. You're going to want to play further back. And Fly has been also switching things up to flash long B and get info there.
And it's a weak set on B side for MXS to start things off too, so they kind of just want to try to use a little bit of like the jump spots, the passive plays, and you mentioned that showstopper and that thrash, so for them, okay to control so that they can play the retake on B side a little bit easier to do as well with these ults that you have on your end.
Oh, rip. Who's gonna be the victim? Somebody's getting this showstopper with this unknown shine, and wow, I'm surprised that he didn't want to push into that hallway with it, but it was going to be a big risk, and he wants to preserve his life. Speaking of that, Scuba is missing. Oh, Oxygen, they fight through. Wow. They spot the swings out of MXS. Oxygen reading this like a book, and it's all up to this flash, and it's Flya that loses that to Mitch, leaving Vic to just line up the shots, and against Mitch, who just spots out every push out of MXS. Oxygen's offense is just undeniable.
Mitch and, I mean, Dapper looked really good on flicking away from that shed and then right here and then still getting that kill onto Otoshima. When you saw the amount of ults that came out for that retake from MXS, they had a perfect timing to not give a chance here for OXG to really kind of set up on a post plant. Everybody was still pinned within the site. The showstopper was perfect. It gives them control of Hookah. And then you saw the thrash coming in from spawn, which technically should have hit and detained Mitch, but somehow did not. Or maybe it did, but Dapper did the hero play to cover his back. And then it's, again, those veterans for that team, Dapper and Mitch, just owning so far on that map. Even though Dapper got that one kill, it was a super important kill because it was a flash that for sure hit the other people out in the open inside that site. So very nicely done. Big impact frag on the end of Dapper, but Mitch just continuing to roll in terms of just being so good as a flex role for any agent that he plays. You know, we're always praising some players that could actually play a lot of different roles, but a lot of these players usually play just duelist role to a different duelist role. But Mitch does so many different roles, and he can play so many different roles under his pocket and very well. And he's an all-rounded player that is a huge component to a team that is not sung about too often. So great to see him performing today as well.
W Mitch.
W
Can we get
Mitch,
a witch in the chat? Witch!
Is that how witches cackle?
Oh, I don't know if Mada's gonna be cackling. Does isolate the 1v2, but that is even too much for him to handle as much as he is the GOAT on Raze. So Oxygen get a freebie, even a second one as Vic swung to help him out. So Oxygen even get a punish there. It's like the kills are coming to them. So it seems like yet another easy Oxygen offensive round. MX has tried to change it up to be more proactive, to not just sit back and watch and be observers. They want to play the game, and they lost it.
That's crazy. And off the timeout too that came out from MXS, and they still wanted to walk contact into short A, but with only 2 players and not like 3, there's no smoke on the side. That was a very dangerous play to do, and I feel like the I'm trying to understand what was coming out of that timeout, because it wasn't one of those timeouts where you had utility or a setup to try to play for any type of trap plays. And it's a huge rifle round for them, because they're going to be forced to eco this round here. If they lose these next two weapons, they're going to be in a tough spot as well in the next round. And it might be the case now. Otoshima is just behind these boxes after hearing 2 TP.
Okay, taking one gun away is pretty chill. Oxygen, I feel like, got gifted that round and was 30 that. Even with MXS trying to change things up and really surprise them, Oxygen are dialed in. They just kill everything. They didn't even lose someone in that 1v2 that Mata tried to force there, even with the isolation of the, I think it was at the Viper's wall. Either way, MXS need to try and take some of these rounds back. The economy is in shambles. This whole game is in shambles.
And Oxygen, from the way that they're playing, it's not, again, on their end, is pretty basic stuff that they're doing too, and just winning some strong fights. And they're not afraid to brute force and trade with those funnies. I mean, look at this death ball that you have down, or should I say up towards Long B. And this is a type of battle that we saw that they did against Core yesterday, where they're just not afraid to just fight.
Just fly, I thought. You could just thread the needle there. Usually is down to play further back and wait for reinforcements, but Oxygen with first blood couldn't trade on Otoshima, who stands tall on the site, ready to deliver. And going 1-for-1 is big. Orbital strike to slow down the push from Oxygen through main, but Oxygen have already infiltrated. And MXS got Wingman to defuse, deny the Seekers to try and force shots out of MXS to get them off the spike. Oxygen just have to play time, and this dark smoke is in the way. And they're just, man, spraying through the smoke. Just dogs barking on the other side of the fence. And MXS just haven't had a safe place to defuse. They need to go in, and they're pushing past the smoke to do that. And MXS, it has to be here or now. But I don't know if there's time for this.
I don't even have time.
There's no time.
There was a smoke there the whole time, and nobody wanted to just try to stick it halfway. But again, the protocols that they had for Brock and for MXS, as soon as they put the Wingman onto that spike, it got instantly denied. Mitch went for a tap through the smoke, and the Wingman was immediately dead. And there's absolutely no luck coming through on trying to get the spike defused at halfway at the minimum for these retake attempts from MXS. He still had a flash to come through that blinds so many players. They can't find a spike to actually get it halfway, but there was definitely so much chaos that there's not enough communication on having somebody to try to tap that spike to at least halfway there for MXS. So Oxygen, great first half so far.
The outlaw by Redux just to watch over Hookah. Early pit from MXS through A main. Guess what? That's Oxygen's favorite highway to go on. So they'll have to just split up in showers, and that's Mata. It's up to him to hold it down. It's looking pretty dry here in these showers. Oxygen forcing the issue.
Oh, I don't like
even
this.
Getting some info off.
They're gonna thrash orbital strike too, man. There's just so much util to play against this pit.
And this is Oxygen's favorite site. You shouldn't have pitted here. Satcheling right after the thrash. Oxygen also faking it. Having one at B. Okay, no. Mata
crazy.
Or Redux is off on his way. And Oxygen break open showers and have MXS second guessing where the push could be coming from. But now there's an offense pit as Oxygen take back over the real estate. Wingman gets the plant. U-Haul won by Scuba. Orbital strike pressuring the backline of MXS. And Otoshima is in the worst spot possible. 27 HP. Hoping that if he can stay alive, they can pinch from both sides. And Oxygen are fine. They don't need to press. They're in a pit. They're secure. They're planted. It's MXS that have to be successful at these retakes. And it's big from big in heaven. Flya with a big risk with the flash through the pit. And the volley got him jumping. And Flya still doesn't get the kill. This is insane. Oxygen with a one-man advantage. Just playing the life of the spike. Playing around the perimeter. And the pit comes down. And so does MXS.
That is crazy. I just remembered as you're casting your Lemon Kiwi that Scuba is actually playing for this team of MXS as well. He's been hyped up on the analyst desk too, but we haven't had a chance to talk about Scuba just because Mish is freaking owning this whole half so far. Did you see that tech he just did towards the showers to win that 1v1 against Brock inside showers? A Gecko versus a Sky, and he's making that Sky sing right now on the attack side, forcing already that second timeout out of MXS because nothing is working in their favor. And finally, when you need those young fraggers to step up to the plate and do something as well, and not saying that they're doing anything bad on their side, it's just they didn't need to, but you just saw that Redux and Scuba just owning it up around that pit and making sure that it stays up there for the team in that post plant. And yeah, MXS, like I said, I feel that it was a little bit of a missed time or a missed call to have that pit down towards short, because you're playing immediately against two ults that could really counter you in that pit. Even if you pit that towards long B, it would have been countered most likely fairly easily. So maybe trying to choose that in a different time, or trying to at least, I guess they're just trying to make something work on their side to at least get like another round in or something like that. But it's that same story that we're seeing right now from this rematch on that last time that they had to play bind against each other. So many rounds being strung so far in a row by OXG on their attack side, where now off this timeout, maybe a silver lining, some hope, as Mata brings the operator out to take Shower's control.
As Bai is interesting. Bulldogs and rifles and an op. Mata's position in Showers will be pushed back there by that flash, and it's stalemate, a chess match for Oxygen. Great use of ults to break it down, but Fly also needs to have these wins when he is successful in these flashes. He needs to be more consistent in these duels, and Oxygen will lead the way with the dog. We got satchels too, and they managed to bite someone there into U-Haul. And MXS, it's the retakes. Oxygen have played it almost every single time they've gone A. And MXS just haven't been able to break it. Otoshima with the Jiggle Peak does spot at least Redux and maybe even a second member. But it's how MXS have reacted to the B presence. Where sometimes they play back, sometimes they flash, and they'll lose Flya sometimes. And he needs to go big here. Redux jumps in, gets flashed, or Flya actually gets flashed. And Oxygen, big first blood out of Mitch. Flya just can't take one for the road. And Oxygen leading with these first bloods is massive for them.
Yeah, and you just mentioned a reaction that they have here for OXG is just to move around the map, and you're keeping MXS kind of isolated on extremities at this point too, where they can't really work together for any crossfires. So it makes the hold towards this B site difficult. It makes the retake even more difficult. And this op to try to retake for the team here for MXS with on a 3 versus 5, it's not going to happen. You're definitely going to see them fall back here and save the weapons. And I just realized here at this point, I'm in gaslighting this whole record between these two teams the whole time because I had my mask mixed up. I was thinking about Oxygen stringing so many rounds on Lotus before, but this blind game actually did definitely go in favor of MXS, but maybe not today. OXG is looking so good here in the kicker of the semifinals.
Hey, keeping the op is cool. Being able to shoot someone with the op is better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the op was at A, and Oxygen said, screw that, let's go B. And Oxygen just getting first bloods on Flya every single time they go B. Oxygen is having great utility and not really being perturbed too much by the brim smokes that are just stuffing them through showers or through A short. So it's Mata that I feel like really needs to help at A, get those first bloods, and he's shifted his focus and try to adapt to Oxygen. But you just never know what to expect out of them.
This time it might be just a strong hit too. You see like these lineups started getting set up too to potentially just open up with a showstopper. They're looking for that 3-2-1 hit. The thing is, MXS are pushed quite aggressively down towards Sands. So this double flank might actually render fruitful towards the end.
A flash, 2 flashes to help Redux get into this position. We're now needing to clear out showers and Mata with the op. Vic shutting down Redux is big, and Oxygen still the plant, but the danger is coming from showers. Boombot gets shot down. You know Mitch is close. He needs something better than an op. Oxygen will switch that up. Now the other side of MXS comes through main, and Mitch has already shut down one angle, but Brockers is right on that power position. Mitch can't win it against Otoshima. He clutches up for MXS when he needs him to the most. And MXS have the number advantage, but running out of time. That's what's hurt MXS on these retakes. Wingman will be put on the spike to get it to halfway. No, not even. Oxygen protecting this objective with everything. And the flash won't help out. MXS narrowly getting this defused.
That was so close too, and yeah, I love the read that came out from MXS at that round though. They understood that the showstopper was going to take a lot of space towards the A side, and usually what happens here when you're opening up so much space with the showstopper is you're thinking that the defenders or your opponents will be playing a lot more passively in the back lines of the site and even towards spawn. So as they're pushing more forward, they've given up much more space on those sides of showers, on those sides of short A, which allowed a 4-person re-hit pretty much in a flank from MXS. Controlling showers, double flanking towards short A, and they ended up having a very clean retake towards the end. It took a couple of rounds, but they finally get the second one here on the board, where maybe we'll see a different story now in this round number 12.
Oh, Otoshima needs to get out. He gets chased, and the wallbang is insane. Oxygen don't even care about this molly, and Faya steps up to at least get one. He knew he could not escape the exec of Oxygen. And Moist get no first blood. Brock, what did I say? Trades it out. Evens things up, and Brock gives his team a chance, but in a 1v3, the Thrash is gone. Deals with the dog, knows Otoshima is on the site. So many angles to watch. Brock ready for the left swing. It's all about timing for Oxygen. Brock with that shot, but Scuba is quicker, denies the ace out of Moist.
I was gonna feel it. I mean, Brock in the Broctagon couldn't be a better spot for him to potentially even get that ace clutch. Look at how nobody checks that corner, and how when you're giving so much space and an opportunity for MXS to fight back, these are the type of results you could potentially see coming out of this team, which is why I will never write out MXS out of the game. Yes, it looked like really OXG meta-wise or macro-wise, and especially going down to those fundamentals or currently winning this map. But man, you're starting to see some individual prowess coming out here out of MXS, and maybe what you really need now as they take the attack side to hopefully bring this back to a closer game. But OXG, man, they looked really strong in this first map, as now they take the defender side. 4 players stacking up here towards this B site, a weak side A, a perfect opportunity here for MXS to open up for a plant.
And just Oxygen took full advantage of a weak B-side defense. Got first bloods. Feels like every single round. The retakes from MXS took way too long, but if they can be flawless, and with shots like that, MXS, the fans can keep on coping. It will be Wingman with the plan, and the smokes cutting off the re-entries. You hear someone jumping away in heaven. Mata, as his eyes locked, flash at the ready for Mitch, and he's got 2 of them too.
Smokes down.
Bruno's got util. Vic just gonna regenerate the smokes, and as he checks to make sure, he gets flashed up. So MXS just have to stop Oxygen from getting too comfortable, and they've already dropped down from heaven. Big win out of Dapper, and it's an exchange into U-Haul. Vic dances, but collapses at the heel. And the defuse started not being stuck. MXS just have to defend the spike, and up against the corner, MXS fight back harder.
Great entries to start things off there too. A Sheriff, a couple of ghosts being purchased as well. So they were definitely trying to play the bodies and the trades here on how they want to execute towards this A site. And once they realized here off the first pick that, you know, there were so many players still towards this B site for OXG, it was easier for them to hold that post plan. Despite Dapper making some way, shape of form, maybe doable for OXG to retake that pistol, but everybody else are playing those protocols to deny that diffuser on the Wingman, and everybody else perfect on their end. Mata now pulling out an outlaw in that second round. OXG knows this type of play coming out from Mata as well, so they're just going full classics. Solo, a jiggle, and a shot missed. Now Dapper is going to give that away. But look at that pivot coming out from OXG. They want to leverage that potentially. I think they might try to gamble towards this B side, thinking, okay, well, if there's an outlaw, the guys on the pistols are going to have to most likely be afraid of this outlaw and will reposition elsewhere. Ooh. But they really want to bring in this heavy hold into hookah.
Everyone is taking shelter into hookah. Just being hidden by the Viper wall, and they could just wrap around. And Otoshima,
oh, he's ready.
How many can he get in the process? He goes 1 for 1. That's big. But the information that Otoshima just brought them is big. There's the flash. It's Oxygen. Fire back in the biggest of ways. Remaining. And the spike is planted. So MXS in a great position as Scuba. Well, he's late to the party. There's no pizza left. And MXS have locked the door.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they've locked the door and they've locked Scuba in it, and he's going to blow up with the spike. Just try not to give that orb away here to Brock, right? Because Brock's already one away of getting a thrash, and you already see Brock trying to chase him down with his ghost. So try to hunt down Scuba, trying to lose the fight, trying to win a fight, whatever result's going to be. Brock should be able to get here the ult in the next round and will do so. But that said, it started off so well for OXG when they pushed down towards that sand, because you would think that even though Otoshima was ready with that Bulldog, he was going to do more damage into potentially just one kill, but he only did one kill and barely any damage on any trades that happened. So there was an opportunity with this Bulldog to do a little bit more. And I just love the pivot towards the end there from MXS, just to make sure that they added more bodies down towards Long B and just fought that area. So in the end, a clean second round, anti-eco, a very decent buy that they have in their bonus.
Dim beacon down.
And a pressure now towards this B side once again.
Okay, there's a Zoomer Thrash. Caught someone in the elbow there. Mitch getting chased by a dog too. Jeez. We'll have some friends to back him up here in a second. Verno racing to reinforce the site. MXS won't let you live, and they won't let you hide. And they're swinging out a smoke. A big win out of Mitch. And he'll hold this angle, but MXS have planted. But Mitch being alive here gives them a chance. With the dog, he realizes that he's close, but the Thresh locking them up again. MXS can always rely on Brock, but Redux equalizing the numbers. Oxygen's retake looking fruitful. Just gotta deal with Otoshima, and with an Outlaw, it's easy. Oxygen with a defuse.
There was definitely something that was missed in the midst of the chaos, because that thrash that was thrown by Brock, detained two players, including Mitch, and they are like, okay, we got 2 kills here, but I don't think they realized that the 2 players that they killed, one of them wasn't Mitch. So Mitch was still detained in a corner, and that allowed for him to reflame out towards the elbow and get that pick, and somehow the round went back in the favor of OXG to win that round. That was a huge win con to keep Mitch alive. Snuck into that corner while he was detained to allow OXG to convert, and not allow MXS to convert, rather, the bonus round. So now it makes it at 11-4. MXS, we talked about it. They had a pretty decent buy in that previous round to have another great buy in this round right here. But Mana only has a Spectre, so they'll probably try to leverage him to satchel, close gap, take control of U-Haul maybe towards the end of the hit, as actually they've inserted Vic in that corner while the wall is up.
Otoshima lives. Playa.
Taken down.
Father, heal me. And Vic says, I'm killing the rest. Can we hurry this up? MXS needed to streak in that last round, but they could still try to salvage what's left of this game. And Mana with the SMG will at least convert one. The spike gets planted, and Oxygen are smoked off, and they are down tremendously, and not in the fun way.
Yeah, definitely not in a fun way, but in a good way, at least for MXS, because they finally survive with a Zenny Flawless that's going to give them a lot of money to work with, and hopefully start some sort of comeback in this second half of this first map. But we know how so far these games in the mid-season cup has been. I feel it's like a continuation of when Wyatt and Uber were casting yesterday. A lot of teams are just having strong attack side to start off the halves, and then suddenly you had a sort of a comeback for the second team until eventually it's a fake comeback. Are we seeing this script continue over on the night side of the mid-season cup here? Could be the case, but at least for now, it's an MXS round for a victory, and OXG are able to save those 2 rifles up towards the spawn, towards the fountain. But inserting Vic right here was such a big play that was unaccounted for from OXG, and they thought they had the read the whole time because you had somebody on top of that APC. They would and should be able to see anybody trying to wrap around that wall and get behind that U-Haul. So that's a nice little push forward that came out here from MXS to convert that round. But this round here, we're looking for a push down towards middle from a satchel with a sky, with a smoke. The satchel missed, but at least they take control to start.
At least Redux has the right side smoke, so he can just focus on the one and doesn't convert much. Oxygen take control of showers too, so great map control for them when it comes to the A side. And I mean, you hope so. They stacked 4 over there, thinking that's where the hit was gonna come. And MXS, they've just chilled things out, seeing if Oxygen are gonna go for any cheeky dry peeks out of here. We're now slowly leaning towards the B side, where it'll be up to Dapper. It'll be up to Scuba to try and stall this.
A good spot for it too to be able to solve this. There's still 2 snake bites. They have 1 more heavy smoke from Scuba. They could cycle with this wall. So you're kind of forcing really Oxygen to start using util to try to re-clear this, especially now that the orb got picked up. I'm really surprised if you see a smoke cycle up after this wall comes down, but they've used it for Hookah. So Hookah, smoke, snake bite on short, now forcing the TP towards Redux's Showstopper, but no pigs. We're safe.
Somehow, MXS just cowering around the corner after that Showstopper came out. The dog to clear showers. There is the hit.
Dude.
Mana from the front. The Mitch with 2 cuts them. And MXS still have to pick up the spike, and it's at the worst spot.
10 seconds
especially
left.
with Mitch still looming. And MXS, the plan has been broken down. And Oxygen left in a 2 versus 2, but no time to plant. Oxygen, match point.
Mitch is just not going to miss this series, it seems like. They really want to get this victory against MXS. They want to get this revenge. They want to win this series. They want to go to the grand finals, and quick at that. But like I said, they're playing great, just fundamental Valorant on both teams. They actually checked that corner. They had 2 players set up here for MXS for a trade, yet they just can't kill Mitch because he's been touched by God today somehow, and he's got like the golden gun in every single one of these fights. It's crazy how things have been working so well for Mitch and OXG as a whole. But yeah, match point. Thrash trying to clear out the hookah early, and it's a fast pivot from that to start things off. Mata's in the site.
Yeah, and no one is on the site, which is important for MXS. They want to go down kicking and screaming if needed, but that crack in the smoke gives a sideline for Mitch. Here's the Odin from Verno. Trying to prevent the plant, force MXS to panic. Now you got the pit too from MXS to try and seal the deal on this round. But the number advantage by 2 is for Oxygen. They use the dog to see where is this Viper within that pit. Does Oxygen hope to take angles around? There is the Seekers and the Flash. Everything coming out of Oxygen for the retake, and still the Odin's presence is to be feared, and the Viper was found and snuffed out along with MXS. If Vic with 6 HP does not pull through, and he gets Verno down to 1, the Thrash is gonna lock him up. Oxygen diffuse in front of him. Absolute BM. Oxygen one-sidedly take bind.
What a way to finish that first map there for OXG. And they're standing up, definitely feeling like it was, wait, are they playing? Like, have we actually started the series? Why was this so easy for us for OXG? But at least if there's anything that I know now from watching these games from MXS recently, is that they're for sure able to bounce back after losing a first map thrashing that they just received, just like Fluffy Aimers yesterday. So I won't count them out yet. There's still some good things that I'm seeing out of MXS, but OXG, they're looking ready to fight this game today.
Oxygen have brought the fire. Did you guys see what they did to Core yesterday? Oh, they're doing it to Moist Shopify right now. And Oxygen get revenge after losing bind to Moist Shopify in the past. There's going to be another map. It's going to get cold in here. Icebox is coming up. That's Moist Shopify's pick. But first, we're going to hear from the desk right after this break.
Fix